motherfucking country you living in right now. Motherfucking ass president up in this motherfucking elect. Okay? I mean, are you people that desperate? Okay, are we supposed to be so goddamn stupid around this motherfucker? Okay, I'm sitting here watching this goddamn MSN and all of this. We all know what the fuck is going on right here, okay? This motherfucker is the Russian motherfucking spy, okay? He's working for motherfucking Putin because he got some business dealings going on behind motherfucking Americans' back. This motherfucker done got him the motherfucking election because they all hate fucking Hillary. This is how White House motherfucker stands up. Hillary, go get that. That's your health. Democracy is about going to take what you believe is yours, girlfriend. You don't go get it. Next one gonna come get it. After years putting in so much effort and time and energy, I'd be wanting to come and move in and lay down for the next 4 motherfucking years. That's just me.
Supremacy and authority. Because there is a distinction. And there is also a very complicated confusion about both position terms. This is an education. Holiday. For free. Position of power does not mean you are automatically in a place where you can make decisions that would negatively affect people, where you can be discriminatory, where you can effect devastation on people you don't like, where you can bully people into doing things that you want them to do, and you can hurt people that do not do what you want them to do. When you can influence the thoughts and influence the perceptions of others to hinder them from helping others. It's an abuse of power, an abuse of authority. Okay? Many people believe, actually it's a conditioned thing, but it comes from supremacy, superiority, from mastership of European delusion. So what that is that they believe, okay, I can get a job, I can get a position, I can climb that mountain positionary so that I can put myself at some sort of a height of power. And so then therefore I can allocate things in the way that I would like to utilize my power, which is for your purpose, purposes that is serving you or others that are serving to you. It's an abuse of power. It's an abuse of authority. It's illegal. Some people, something is so wrong with them mentally that they are very unaware of that fact. And they are very unaware of narcissistic behavior, sociopathism. They are not aware that pathological lying means what's wrong with you. And so, the thing is that is why we need balance. And that is why we have a structure where people can educate themselves, can acquire a skill set, have the knowledge base necessary to gain the experience from interacting with a diverse world. Diverse people with diverse needs. Diverse communication. Diverse language. And the thing about authority is that authority must understand that it is restricted at some point. You are not powerful over everyone you encounter, every situation and every instance. That means that you're just a dictator. You're a supreme ruler. And in this world, that's not how it happens. You can create a world where it can be that way for you. You can start a business. You can be an entrepreneur. You can hire people that are going to just feed your ego, your narcissism, people you can abuse and talk to any type of a way. And they're going to accept those terms and conditions because they want that employment. They want that status. And so they're willing to compromise their humanity. They're willing to compromise their dignity. They're willing to compromise themselves completely for some sort of a financial freedom or some sort of status of belonging. And see, when your authority is used in that way, that's not honest. it's abusive. So actually those people are being confined by that abuse. It's no different than a CO in a prison and prisoners, inmates. It's just no difference. But some people, they are so delusional and mentally ill that they are incompetent. And that is another thing that we will explore in one of my videos too later. But that is very important, understanding, learning how to differentiate between the two. Because a person suffers from a mental illness, a mental disorder, or anything, it does not mean that they are incompetent. And what happens is that they encounter incompetent individuals that don't understand the dynamic of the overwhelming sensitivity associated with this delicate uniqueness of this person. And so they don't understand it, they can't comprehend it, they don't know what to do with it. That's why there are so many children failing and not thriving in school, because the school systems are not set up of psychology, social workers, and people, a team of individuals that can be consistent in almost a reprogramming of and programming, and sometimes a deprogramming of an individual so that they can flourish, so that you can start to see some progress. And you know that takes a lot of work, a lot of effort, a lot of advocacy, a lot of fighting. And so people don't like me, but I have been debilitated by others' ineptness, by others' incompetence. And these are professional people that are supposed to be able to do their job, be in a place of authority where I can entrust them, where I can have expectations of them. And I have seen them neglect their duties. I have seen them abuse their duties. And I've seen them totally brutalize the meaning of law. You always find yourself in a situation of challenge because someone in authority sees it one way and that's how they want it. And they're not understanding that each person in society as well is entitled to their own perception, their own goals, their own drive, their own ambition, their own mindset. And so you can't try to control every part of a person's life. But that is what we were seeing with the spying from the police. They are manipulating footage that they are actually getting. Then they delete footage without following up, investigating accidents and crimes committed before deleting the evidence, before a trial can be had, before attorneys can do their thing. So you see a constant disturbance coming from a culture of people who want you to deem them as authorities. But I believe in something different. I believe in something called self-superiority. And where once you understand what that means to you, you can control you, and you are not compromised by the thoughts and manipulations of others cleverly trying to control you. Because at the end of the day, you are the one who have to live with the decisions you make. You are the one who have to live with the life that you are going to be dealt. And so it's not up to someone else to conform your thought process, because eventually you're going to have to deal with the suppressed thoughts, the regression, the transgressions, stressors, triggers associated with these such things. So here you have a confused culture, a society that never really takes the time to really get to know a diverse world unless they have some benefit or gain in it. You know, had a reason to bump into each other and build a friendship or something or other than that. They otherwise would not ever have had a relationship with these people that are different. Their perceptions are different. Their motivations are as well. And so we have to start to face the truth and the reality, because some people in authority positions are creating future monsters. They are not utilizing their position of power in a manner that is substantial to ensure that children of domestic violence victims who survive after a traumatizing event, a horrific, deadly, devastating occurrence, are supported through their life. That they had the support and the tools and resources that they need, because we already know that it's going to be difficult for them. No. It's just like a diet. You can't expect every pregnancy to be normal and healthy. You can't expect every child to be able to get beyond and past traumatizing situations. But we always see white people, you people, you are always making an excuse and justifying bad, terroristic behavior of professionals and authority figures, people in positions of power. You don't have a problem letting a corrupt person who robbed the government for money and robbed the people, or pedophiles, out and free. You don't have a problem doing that. What you have a problem doing is understand that a man needs to be able to provide and fend for himself and feed his children, and a woman needs to be able to do the same. You act as if you don't understand that those needs are the same for everyone, not just you. You also need to understand that it takes people lots of time and effort and bouncing back and forth, ping-ponging, before a lot of colored American citizens are able to utilize the credit system to their advantage. I've never leased a car, loaned a car, whatever you call it, finance. I've done that. Paid for all my stuff. And got robbed for everything else which I paid for. The white system had allowed it. Or put me through such a channel. Oh, you gotta go here. You gotta go here. You gotta go through the river. They want you to do all that. Meanwhile, it just takes up time. It costs you money. You and yours is losing. But they are getting billed out from the federal government and abusing the bankruptcy laws as Donald John Trump, your current president. And it's like, you want to respect them. You want to believe, oh yes, my authority, my law, my judicial structure is going to work for me. I'm going to wait my turn, I'm going to wait my time, and Your Honor is going to do right. The attorneys are going to fight the best that they can on both ends. You know, I understand that you want to understand that people need to be taught these things. At once I didn't understand anything about this. You know, but that's not how it's going. It's to the benefit even of a person representing you in court for a case. So one thing that I understand is like, I don't care about your position of you wanting authority over me. That needs to be a position of entrustment, endearment, support, resource. Now, authority over me, you must be ensuring my survival, my livelihood, my advocacy is not being hindered. I'm not going to be conspired against by my local government or district or retaliated against by anyone, nor would that extend down to children. People want the confidence in their government authority structures so they can believe in them. That's not what the authority structures are providing to the constituents it's supposed to be serving. It is serving them an injustice with video camera footage. You know that these people are doing something wrong and you're not pulling them up on misconduct charges. You're not making arrests. We're not utilizing the official laws we do have against public officials in the manner in which we really should be exercising them in 2017, because there's a massive brutality of terroristic abuse occurring from police officers and from public officials and from agencies that is supposed to be allocating the needs for the poor. We do not need government. Only an arrogant-minded person would believe that government is needed for anything other than for what government is trying to keep from the people right now. You cannot charge citizens, especially poor citizens, for something and have them paying into a pot for something, but you do not want to give it to them when they want it. We see a constant pattern of this. authoritative abuse. And then we are supposed to entrust these people with our minor children when they make offenses, and they don't really have the skills needed, the competence needed to understand some children need to be punished. Some children are sadistic. But then there are some children that are caught up or went down the wrong lane, or something happened that triggered or caused a traumatizing event. And we need adults, a leadership, authority figures that can understand and adhere to such demands. We have authority figures ignoring and abusing mentally disabled and physically disabled citizens, and chalking it down to, oh, their behavior, oh, they were mean, or they were mad, or they were touching law, they were resisting arrest. Do you know how disabled people act? You don't have the competence, so all the qualifications nor skills needed psychologically to deal with the public that you are serving. You are given the job because there is an authoritative structure that wants to employ their children and their grandchildren to ensure that they live. And it's nice, because it's just like if you started a business, or if you built something, you would want your children to be able to eat, or if someone, someone was going to take it from you, you will be concerned about how you will be feeding later. And see, that's the problem. We have a giggling, narcissistic culture of people dominating the media right now, trying to totally brainwash people, deceive people into believing what the government and Trump is doing for people that he's not doing. Like most judges, social workers, and local professionals, if people were really doing their job that were placed in these positions, doing it adequately, we would not have a world so disturbed. We have a world so disturbed because the confusion, painful confusion, really exists and starts, branches off of our authority figures, off of their systematic approaches, off of their perceptions and their domestic terrorist history, because they haven't let it go. They have failed to change. And all they have done in the past 40, 50 years is try to strategically manipulate the system internally to get things for their own gain and to enslave people without their knowledge, so people wouldn't even fight for freedom. And that is an abuse of power, an abuse of authority. And why should you be deemed an authoritative
leak recording
of the drama with your president-elect. I'm gonna get back to my little video here containing all these nice old files. Same thing in it you could be doing. Type of work don't cost you nothing.
Two pages of President Trump's tax returns are now public, and they show a few big numbers indicating the president's income in 2005. That year, he reported $150 million in income and paid about a quarter of that in taxes. The president has refused to release his tax returns, but somebody mailed those pages to reporter David K. Johnston of DCReport.org, and he's on the line. David, welcome back to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so he paid 25% of his income in taxes. What's the big deal here?
Well, he paid 24%, but he would have paid 35% if it wasn't for this $103 million of negative income, presumably from a tax shelter that Congress shut down but let people who already bought it keep. He actually would have paid less than 3.5%. His regular federal income tax, 3.5%, which is lower than the rate paid by the poorest half of America.
I guess we better explain that. When you talked about more than $100 million in losses, he says the income for the year is $150 million. That's after subtracting some losses, and you're saying that those losses, even though you don't have all the pages, appear to be some kind of tax shelter that reduced his apparent income?
That's right. He had $153 million of income. He had $103 million of what's called negative income. That left him a little less than $50 million. He had some deductions that left him $30 million. He would pay $5 million. There's another tax Trump wanted to eliminate in terms of tax. It added $31 million tax allowed for income. If he had only had taxes Trump wants, no alternative tax,
these returns do show a little bit. You just received this in the mail, like literally you went to the mailbox.
I was actually on the Mar-a-Lago that I'm writing. A phone call from one of my grown children who said they come in the mail. My house is not just a resort. I got on a plane. Came home.
Good that somebody checked the help for you, though.
Yeah.
There have been some other tax documents that have been released, one from the 1990s showing you wrote off $900 million. In just a few seconds, do you feel you have a better sense of the president's plan?
Oh, yeah. And I hope we get more information. But that $900 million, the banks wrote that off. Trump, through a tax shelter, also got to write it off. And it was such an odious tax shelter, Republicans shut it down. You know what they always do? They allow those people who already lost their tax shelter and keep their good tax sales. That's what happened to Donald Trump.
A little bit more is known pages of that tax return. David K. Johnson, thank you very much.
In our country, we have a democracy. In our country, we have a judicial system. In our country, we have a system that authority like us to go through and climb. And what I'm saying to you is that when your system is not working for you, when you see that your system is actually hurting you, taking from you, or yours, or even others, that you should be standing up and you should be doing the right thing. Because can't nobody really fight on their knees. That's momentarily. So what I would encourage each of you to do is to do some of what I'm doing. And go do your homework, do your research. And when people are doing so much talking, you go find out just what they really is about. And that's pretty much what this is. This man is representing this country. This man has gotten that seat. And this man, you all need to know who he is and what he is truly motivated by. And make your determination on where that leaves you in your future.
pages of President Trump's tax returns are now public, and they show a few big numbers indicating the president's income in 2005. That year, he reported $150 million in income and paid about a quarter of that in taxes. The president has refused to release his tax returns, but somebody mailed those pages to reporter David K. Johnston of DCReport.org, and he's on the line. David, welcome back to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so he paid 25% of his income in taxes. What's the big deal here?
Well, he paid 24, but he would have paid 35% if it wasn't for this $103 million of negative income, presumably from a tax shelter that Congress shut down but let people who already bought it keep. He actually would have paid less than 3.5%. His regular federal income tax, 3.5%, which is lower than the rate paid by the poorest half of Americans.
I guess we better explain that. When you talked about more than $100 million in losses, he says the income for the year is $150 million. That's after subtracting some losses, and you're saying that those losses, even though you don't have all the pages, appear to be some kind of tax shelter that reduced his apparent income?
That's right. He had $153 million of income. He had $103 million of what's called negative income. That left him with a little less than $50 million. Then he had some deductions. That left him with $30 million. Then he would pay $5 million. But there's another tax which Trump wants to eliminate, the alternative minimum tax, that added $31 million back because it disallowed most of the negative income. If we had only had the tax system Donald Trump wants, no alternative minimum tax, on a positive income of over $150 million, he would have paid less than 3.5%, which is less than the poorest half of Americans pay.
Now, the White House released a statement. They didn't appear to explicitly confirm the authenticity of the tax return. They do confirm a couple of numbers in it, and then they say that the leakage of this return was illegal. Are they correct?
It depends on who leaked it. It's not illegal for me to receive it, as I did, or to publish it. Journalists do that all the time, and I don't know where it came from. But the assertion that the leakage of it was illegal may or may not be true. They also inflated the amount of taxes the president paid, and I noticed both the Washington Post and the New York Times didn't skeptically think about that, and they took the White House number, even though it's not what the tax return shows.
Oh, okay. So you're saying that these returns do show a little bit different story than what the White House says. And you just received this in the mail, like literally you went to the mailbox and there's 2 pages?
I was actually in Palm Beach looking at Mar-a-Lago for a new biography of Trump that I'm writing when I got a phone call from one of my grown children who said it had come in the mail at my house in Rochester, New York. And I got on a plane, came home.
Good that somebody checked the mail for you then, I suppose.
Yeah.
There have been some other tax documents that have been released, one from the 1990s showing that he wrote off $900 million or so. In just a few seconds, do you feel you have a better sense of the president's finances?
Oh, yes, and I hope we get more information, but that $900 million, the banks wrote that off. Trump, through a tax shelter, also got to write it off, and it was such an odious tax shelter, the Republicans in Congress, as soon as they found out about it, shut it down. But you know what they always do, Steve? They allow those people who already bought the tax shelter to keep their ill-gotten tax savings. That's what happened with Donald Trump.
So a little bit more is known about the president's finances, much still not known, including the remaining pages of that tax return, the 2 pages of it. David K. Johnston, thanks very much. Pleasure talking to you.
Thank you, Steve.
He wrote the story at DC